There's room for everything in pro wrestling.
When's the last time we were truly worked?
Dana Brooke should be champion right now. How dare you, sir?
It's whatever at this point. Goldberg's in the Hall of Fame. That made it irrelevant at that point.
You know, are we wrestling nerds or not? No, we're not. We're cool guys.
And that's the bottom line, because Bama Dave said so. Well, rammer jammer and drop the hammer. This one's for the girls today on the Bama Slammer. I am very excited about today's episode. It's International Women's Month, and we're celebrating women's wrestling today with our favorite top 10. And I'm not going to surround myself with a bunch of guys because, quite frankly, we don't know what the heck we're talking about. So I'm going to surround myself with three women who are all very much smarter than me. And I'm going to introduce you to this esteemed panel who's going to help me break down our favorite top 10 women's wrestlers of all time. First of all, starting over here to my right, she's a wrestling enthusiast, a writer, a blogger, the host of the Squared Circle podcast, a guest host on Thomas Island, and a proud superfan of New Japan Pro Wrestling. She's also a former logger for the WWE, and she is a mainstay here on the SmackDraw brand. Check her out on her Twitch channel and on all the new up-and-coming projects he's got going. Welcome back to the Bama Slammer, Marie Shadows. How are you this afternoon?
I'm good, Bama. Thank you for having me.
I'm always glad to have you back. We're doing a special afternoon episode, and I wanted to bring you ladies in. Marie, thank you so much. You were recently on our Revolution preview. How many of your predictions came true?
Honestly, I don't remember, but I really don't. To be honest, like wrestling moves so fast, and I'm just like, all right, cool. You know, I just do it for fun. I don't really take it serious. So yeah, I don't really know.
That's fine, 100%. And then directly below me and Marie, they are the best women's podcast tag team in the business right now. They host regular segments like Inside the Mind of, In the Crowd, and New Japan Takeover. You can catch them every Thursday evening on their Twitch channel, and be sure to follow them on their social media and follow their podcast and their YouTube videos. Katie Bebe and Y2 Garcia, a.k.a. Miss Savannah. Welcome back to the Bama Slammer, the SheLite Showcase. Ladies, how are you this evening?
Good. Doing good, Bama. Thanks for having us back, or at least having us together once, but having us both back.
Exactly, yeah. I've had you both on individually. Katie was recently with our show a few months ago for our NXT show, and Savannah was here for Full Gear preview. So, yeah. But I wanted to have you ladies both on together, and we talked about doing this show several months ago, and I'm excited that we got to do it in the month of March, which is National Women's Month. And so, real quick, before we get these things started, I want you ladies to give me an honest grade on where you think the world of women's wrestling is currently right now in today's climate. So from an F up to an A, give me an honest grade on where you assess women's wrestling is right now and one thing you would change to take it up a grade level. Marie, I'll start with you.
Oh, man, that's a very loaded question with a very loaded answer.
Go ahead then.
Currently, right now, I'm going to give it a B+ because it's always room to improve. If I would have just said an A, then like it's perfect, but nothing's ever perfect. But I give it a B+. I'm very proud of all the ladies that have been trailblazers and got us this far. The one criticism that I would probably say that we need to improve is that for me, it's going to come from like a match aspect where like, just because you throw maybe a punch or even do like a leg drop or something as simple, it's not going to put your opponent away. You don't need to like have, that much anger if your opponent like kicks out if you think that move is powerful. Right. So like just those tiny little things that I look at as like those could be improved for like story wise. But overall, I give it a B+ for right now.
Okay. Katie, I'll come to you next.
Yeah, I'll give it a B. I mean, because you're not just talking like WWE or AEW.
No, I'm talking
like,
the entire landscape
overall.
Yeah.
So like that's why it's hard to kind of like pick a good grade.
Right.
But I think B is a solid choice because there's fantastic women doing fantastic things all over the world, and something to improve. I mean, just giving the women more time on the male-dominated shows. That's like the main thing. You can give them more than one storyline that doesn't involve a title. I know. Yeah. Crazy, but like you can give them other storylines, you can give them something else to do. Right. So I say that.
Let's say, when's the last time we had a story? I can think of two: AEW, Ty Conti and Anna Jay versus the Bunny and Penelope Ford. That was a 2.5 month rivalry between those four ladies, and then WWE has it really been since Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville that we've had a true non-title storyline between women?
Give or take.
See,
That sounds about right.
man, that is crazy. That is absolutely
Sounds
crazy.
about right.
All right, but you'll give it a B. Marie gave it a B plus. Miss Savannah, what do you think?
I'm also gonna give it a B as well. Like, because like how Marie said, there's always room for improvement. Even if it's like the best it could be, there's no such thing as perfection. There can always be some room for improvement, especially like in different companies. I know, some companies like Impact, I think probably treat their women the best. I think Impact does a really good job with the knockouts. But and just a criticism, I guess I would like to pick out is Katie and I talk about this a lot on our show, and that is like how Katie mentioned, the dominant male, like it is a man's world in wrestling. It's a man's world in general, but in wrestling more specifically.
It's a man's world.
Yeah, exactly. And just the fact, especially in AEW, we talked about how there's like over 100 men signed in AEW, but like maybe
Ridiculous.
like less than 30 women, and not
it's
even
about like
half these
34 women.
Yeah, more than half of these women are not completely utilized.
Right.
And I think it's crazy that like it took getting the TBS championship to really make sure that there's 2 matches on the pay-per-view card. Because if I'm trying to think back, usually the one women's match, if it's not on the buy-in, it's the championship match.
Right.
I really don't think that like Katie mentioned, there can be great storylines without a title behind it, or
100%.
going after a title. And I think that just more utilization and more storylines, good storylines that don't have to do with, a title match. And I think another example that you didn't mention, or besides Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, I would want to consider Britt and Thunder Rosa before it became for the title, because Britt didn't even have the championship when they had their lights out match.
That's a good point.
Thunder Rosa and Britt kind of had at it before then, and they feuded, and Britt had already beaten Thunder Rosa twice, and then by the time St. Patrick's Day Slam last year came around, Thunder Rosa finally took the win over Britt, and it wasn't for the title. I think that's probably the most we've gotten out of non-title feuds. But yeah, that's mostly it. But I think from where they once were, I think it's definitely improved. Like, especially like seeing WWE having like so many women going to Saudi Arabia. Like that's, I think, a huge milestone. So I think it can only get better from here, hopefully.
I agree wholeheartedly. And real quick, just want to give a shout out. JJ Ren's in the chat, and JJ says, I know Impact isn't the choice show right now, but for many, but the women there are something to watch, 100%. And then Kyle said, what's up, everybody? He said, I have to tune in nowadays to find Impact when I remember it being on. Please, Impact, whatever it takes, get on a time and on a network where we can see you and DVR you. I want to watch you. I really do. I don't know, SheLite, you guys are in the same boat with me. It comes on like right when we're getting prepped to do our show, so I never get to watch Impact live. It's always so hard for me to do it. Yeah.
It's always like right in between.
Yeah.
First hour, we will probably, like, if we were to watch it, we would only catch the first hour.
Right.
By the second hour, we're already filming.
Yeah, it's so difficult, but I will agree. Hands down, Impact probably treats their women as royalty. I mean, we said forever, Deonna Purrazzo was the face of Impact for the entire time she was champion, more than the world champion at the time. So they definitely know how to build. And for all the Forbidden Door reasons, which champion got to come over and be in the Royal Rumble from Impact? That was the women's champion, Mickie James. So it says a lot that they treat their women in such high regard. So I definitely think they're doing the best job when it comes to putting a platform in place for them. But real quick, just to get this out of the way before we move forward, right now, all those guys I shouted out, they're watching us live on our Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/SmackDraw. Make sure you follow us, subscribe, and anytime we go live, you'll know about it. Also, check us out on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/SmackDraw Podcast. You can like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you click that bell so every time we drop our content every week, you'll get notified immediately. All these ladies have the same stuff going. At the very end, I'm going to give them a chance to plug their stuff. But thank you again for being a part of the show today. Let's get into it now. Our top 10 favorite women's wrestlers, with a few honorable mentions added on at the end. And once again, ladies, and for all of you watching, we're not doing who we think are the top 10 best. We're doing our personal favorite top 10 to make it subjective and just to react to where we maybe have each other's people on that list. But it's fun. It's a chance to honor the women that we grew up watching or that we're currently watching and we love, and give them the props that they so richly deserve. And so let's see who's on everybody's list. And Marie, I'm going to start with you. Who is your number 10 favorite women's wrestler of all time?
My number 10 is going to be Jacqueline. She broke down barriers and I believe carried the Cruiserweight Championship at one point.
In both companies.
Yep. And then also, transitioned to do a little refereeing and stuff like that. But I would have her as like number 10.
Awesome. That's a great choice for number 10. Yeah, Jacqueline's definitely a game changer and a mold breaker. Always has been. Katie, you're number 10.
Okay, I'm specifying that my number 1 is solid. 2 through 10 can be switched out for whatever. So the numbers don't necessarily matter.
Same thing here, yeah.
But my number 1 is going to be your number 1 regardless.
Yep.
So number 10, I have AJ Lee.
Okay.
Her reign with the Divas title, her being like, I guess, like there's the typical mold for the divas, and then the anti-divas with like AJ and Paige.
Yep.
And AJ was kind of like the first one to do that at that time, and everything she did, her as like the general manager, and then I loved AJ, and actually I think her birthday today as we record this, which is ironic. And so everything she's done for the business and that she's still doing with the business, I gotta go AJ Lee.
Awesome. Quick fact, Katie, would you want to see AJ Lee back in the ring, or do you like what she's doing right now with WoW?
I would love to see her in the ring again. I know like that was like a conversation when WoW got brought up, but she said she's just not ready.
Mm-hmm.
Like physically. I think mentally she might be, but I think she doesn't want to like mess up her body again, which is fair.
Yeah, I completely understand that. Miss Savannah, you're number 10?
Yeah. So like Katie, again, it just number one and number 2 are pretty set in stone. Maybe 3 also, but like the rest can be kind of, it's in no particular order. But number 10, I'm going with Candice LeRae because she is, again, not to say that like whoever I put above her, I think is completely better than her. Again, I made this list like at 2:30 in the morning last night. So I was just like, I know if I really liked them growing up and stuff, and if they've influenced me in some way, they just made the list.
Right. So
yeah, I was like, this is no really particular order except like the top 3. But yeah, Candice LeRae is honestly like, I think one of the modern day trailblazers. The way her wrestling in the indies was absolutely phenomenal. She was the first person to ever take the thumbtack boot to the face, courtesy of Matt Jackson. I know in their book, they talked about how their entire family was pissed off because Candice LeRae is so little. I think she's like my height, like 5'2". So little Candice took that boot to the face like a champ. And I believe she still won that match, if I remember correctly.
She did.
Yeah, they won.
So there you go. So Candice took a thumbtack boot to the face by a freaking dude, and she still won. So, she's got to be in the top 10. And then also she was killing it in NXT, but now she's, she's Mama Candice, so that's okay. She can go do whatever she wants. But I really wish they would have given her the NXT Women's Championship at some point. I'm glad she at least won the tag titles, with Indy Hartwell, but I really would have loved to see her with singles gold. But who knows, I don't know what she has plans for next. But I know she's already killed it enough in the business.
I say Becky and Ronda are proven you can have your baby and wrestle too. So I'm sure Candice will find a way to get back in the ring.
Yeah, like Becky especially, you could not tell that woman has had a baby.
Mm-mm. No, I agree. I'm in the same boat as all of you. My top 1 through 3 are pretty much going to stay until somebody just completely knocks one of them out someday. But 4 through 10 and my honorable mentions, most of them could be very, very fluid. But my number 10 for this list, Melina Perez. Melina never gets credit for being truly a trailblazer in the women's revolution. She was all about, She was one of the first women that said, screw being a diva, I'm going to show you I can wrestle. And she went from being a valet for Johnny Nitro and Joey Mercury, and everybody just knew her for her hair and her apparel and the way she did a split getting into the ring. That's basically all anybody cared about her. And then when the Divas era kicked off, she and Mickie James and Victoria and Candice Michelle and Tori Kelly and girls like Layla and Michelle McCool that was coming in, they said, we're going to steal the show as best we can. Give us 90 seconds. It's going to be the best 90 seconds we can give you. And Melina, I always respected her from day one to when she finally called it quits. You could just see the dramatic improvement in the ring. And the match she had with Deonna Purrazzo just reminded me, this girl is so good, and this girl gets it. She has a great in-ring IQ, and Deonna made her shine, but Melina gave it right back to her. Melina is a great in-ring talent, and growing up in my late teens, early 20s watching her, I was like, oh my gosh, this girl, she's amazing. So I love Melina Perez. Huge love. This time for round 9, Katie, we're going to start with you. Who's your number 9?
My number 9 is Melina. Ironically enough. Everything you said, she was one of the like more memorable managers, valets, whatever you want to call them, during that era. Like, she was an eminent part of Eminem. Like, her initials in that with them.
Right.
The splits, always iconic. I was always jealous because, like, I was never flexible. So every time I see her do that, I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's insane. Like, my hips would pop off like a Barbie
And she could
doll.
still do it.
She still can.
Yes.
She does it better now,
Yeah.
which is crazy. But her flexibility was always something to just like be astonished about. Her in-ring style, everything she did, she was great. Her rivalry with Beth Phoenix was awesome. Everything she's done now, you brought up her match with Deonna. It's just incredible to see her. Like, she did it in WWE, she took a break, and now she's back doing it again. And I've always loved Melina, so she's my number 9.
Katie, were you okay or pissed at what happened to Melina in the Royal Rumble?
No, I'm still fucking pissed about it. Like, there's no reason. No, listen, there's no reason that you bring Melina back as the number 2, and like you could see the emotion in her eyes, and like it was something everyone really wanted. You give her 30 seconds? Are we kidding? Pissed.
All right, we're in the same boat there. I wasn't pissed, but I was like, come on, not like that, not like that.
No, I was pissed.
All right, well, you're allowed to be. Savannah, you're number 9.
My number 9, I'm going with Gail Kim, because I think she is very revolutionary. I think she is probably, like, I want to say the first official, like, woman wrestler to really show that you don't need to be in the WWE to be a big shot. Like, she's kind of the first one who said, fuck this shit. I know I'm better than just the bra and panties, and I'm better than this. I want to be a wrestler,
100%.
not a diva. And she went to Impact, and she fucking killed it. And she has really made a name for herself over there. And I think it's probably what inspires women, you know, to keep, you know, like that. If you get released from the WWE, that it's not over. Like, you have places to go, and it's not like a downgrade. You can, if anything, it could be a potential upgrade for you. You could do so much better somewhere else where you might feel more like yourself, where you feel like you belong. And I think she's the one who really set in stone that particular, you know, I guess feeling, or I guess that she's the one who like paved the way to do that for most women. And, like, you know, you don't need to be in the WWE to show that you're a top star. You can go prove it anywhere you want.
100%. She still holds the record for the most knockout championship reigns at 7, and she deserves that. And we just harped on saying Impact arguably has the best women's division and treats their women the best. Who runs the women's division in Impact? That'd be Gail Kim. So 100%. Could not agree more. She's not on my list. She would be in my honorable mentions. The problem is I missed her entire career. I didn't watch wrestling during the time when she was hot. So I only know her in the later days as an Impact booker. So I would call her best female booker of all time. But as far as a wrestler, I don't have any emotional attachment to her because I never watched her. So that's just, but it's a glitch. If I go back and watch the entire span of Impact somehow, then maybe she might get into my list later. But for right now, I don't have her there. But Savannah, 100%. Everything you said, she deserves every single accolade. My number 9, And people are going to be pissed at this, but if you are pissed at this, there's a reason. It's because you're way too invested and you idolize her way too much. My number 9, and she is going to stay right around here probably forever, is the boss, Sasha Banks. She's probably never going to crack even my top 5. I love her athleticism. I love her character. I love that she gets it in the ring and she loves to go from 0 to 100 and put on the best match she possibly can. I love The Mandalorian. She's doing great stuff there. The only thing I don't like about Sasha is she is going to tank her career by taking too many risks. Her career, I'm glad she's getting acting jobs because I would not be shocked at all if one more bad bump, she's done. And I know that she's tried to steal the show and put on the best match she can, but she's got to work safer. That's the only reason why I don't love her more than I should, because every time she does something crazy, like you girls remember the dive she did with Carmella where I thought Carmella broke her neck? I was like, are you kidding me? Why are these girls doing this stuff? It's so unsafe. But like I said, her boss character, she owns it. Her music's good. So there's a lot of stuff about her. The matches she had with Charlotte, the matches she's had with Becky. Of course, the rivalry she had with Bayley was one of the best rivalries of the year they had it. But as much as a lot of people would put her as greatest women's wrestler of all time, the best of the 4 horsewomen, blah, 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 I'm sorry. She's the bottom of the 4 horsewomen for me. I just do not get the hype. And watching her in the ring, is she good? Yes. Is she great? Maybe. But she's going to have the shortest career of the 4 because she's way too crazy for me. That's just my personal opinion. But I still have her in my top 10 at number 9. Marie, who's your number 9?
So I'm going with indie wrestling darling for this one. I have Vicious Vicky as my number 9.
Wow.
Because I've had the honor and pleasure to watch her matches up close and personal in Titan Championship Wrestling and then also in IWA as well. And, just seeing how she works and putting on the matches, especially when I saw the ladder match that she had with Notorious Mimi that WWE just picked her up too. So yeah, I'm really excited that, the women on the indies are getting to show off like being in ladder matches and being in like hardcore stuff and getting recognized for it. So yeah, my number 9 is definitely Vicious Vicky.
What a great take. Wow, man, I love it. Over here in the chat, Kyle says China is always going to be my number 1. I bet most of us have China somewhere on our list. SCS Vince says, how does her taking risks make her less of a good wrestler? Because you can't wrestle if you're in a wheelchair, dude. That's why. Katie.
Logic.
Yeah, I don't mind them taking risks. I don't mind them doing high spots. I don't mind them doing that stuff. But if you do it just to steal the show or to be a flash in the pan, you're putting your career in jeopardy. Do it calculated. Do it safe. Do it when it matters. Don't just do it for the sake of doing it. That's my argument. Now we're going to start round 8 with you, Savannah. Who's your number 8?
Number 8, I have Paige, because I grew up kind of with Paige. I was like a young little, preteen around Paige's time in WWE. And I really admired that she was someone different. She didn't have to be like the rest, and that's kind of something that I kind of hold close. I'm the only one out of like my siblings and like my cousins who like loves wrestling, as you can tell. I love wrestling. So I've always been a little different. Like I'm the only one who's going into like the digital media field in my immediate family. Like no one else is doing this. Usually it's medical field stuff. And so I've always kind of stood out in that regard. And Paige has always been someone who's stood out in her own unique way.
Right.
And that kind of like holds something I've always held dear to me. And like she can show that you can still be the best without having to be like everybody else. Like if anything, standing out is probably better. Because, everyone will always know you for who you are. You're not like just like everyone else. You are the first you, and you are, unique in your own way. And you can, definitely be at the top being yourself. So, and she's absolutely killed it. It's unfortunate that she had to retire so young, because she definitely could have done so much more. I would have loved to seen her win the women's championship, because I know she was the anti-diva, that was her name, she was the anti-diva. And I know, she was the first NXT women's champion. So many accolades to back up just how amazing she is. So, and I would hope that, if she is cleared to go, she can make a return to the ring, but and if there's anything we've seen from like Edge and, others, it's possible, you can get back in the ring, just proceed with caution.
100%. I 100% agree with that. Coming back over here to the chat, Justin Hill Tactics, what's up, man? Good to see you too. And Benji, what's up? Good to see you too. Shout out to SheLite and Marie. Benji, good to see you. Absolutely. I'm loving having these three girls on here. They are absolutely killing it. They are awesome. I love having them. My number 8. She came out of nowhere, and I know her career is still fairly young, but I have a feeling she's going to be a history maker before it's over. My number 8 is the Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. I am so impressed with this girl. She has just completely blown my mind. Like I said, she was the first woman that AEW signed, so that told me that Tony Khan saw something immediately in her worth signing. Her character work is so good. Her moveset is very logical, and she doesn't take a lot of crazy risks. She loves to make her stuff matter, but she lays it in. And when she's on the mic, I would argue that in terms of the women's division in AEW, when she's on the mic, she's almost untouchable. And so everything about her just screams, watch me. She does some of the highest ratings every single time she's on screen. And every women's match in AEW so far, the top 10 greatest matches you could probably say that right now that they've had in their 3-year history of those top 10 matches, I would bet you Britt Baker's in at least half of them, if not more. The girl is so good, and I just really admire everything she does. Being attached to Adam Cole doesn't hurt her, but she's proven, just like Seth and Becky have proven, you don't need to have that guy in your relationship to be a star. Britt Baker could break up with Adam right now, and she'd still be the Doctor. And so I really am just thankful to watch her every week on AEW. And now that she's no longer AEW Women's Champion, I'm interested to see what they do with her, and I'm interested to see what kind of story she wants to tell. So, Dr. Britt Baker, love you, and thank you for everything you're doing in the world of women's wrestling right now. Marie, you're number 8.
This is gonna be kind of funny, but I have Gail Kim as my number 8.
Woo! All right.
Just because of I watched her career, and I know that in Impact, she put on hella performances, had really good stories, had a really good feud with Awesome Khan.
Yes,
and
I did see that.
Yeah. My biggest thing with Gail is that she never let any of the negativity or any of the stuff that women hear in wrestling bring her down and keep her in this box. She managed to elevate herself and other women that she always feuded with in TNA.
Yeah.
So that's why she's my number 8.
I love it. Like I said, we gave her all the accolades she deserves. And do y'all think she's really done, or will she ever give us one more match?
Maybe one more match. Maybe.
She's teased it for about a year now.
Yeah.
I know.
I would love to see it. Katie, you're number 8.
Okay, my number 8, someone who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm going with Victoria. And Victoria is very much underrated.
Yes.
She was pivotal in that era with Tori Wilson, Kelly,
Yes.
everyone you mentioned before. Her work she did with Impact back then was also fantastic. Her theme, banger.
Yes.
Her moveset, incredible.
Finisher,
Everything everything Victoria
Yes.
has done is that was one of the ones I loved watching growing up. She was just slightly crazy at times, and everything she did in the ring was great. I just love Victoria. I want her to finally get her flowers because she fucking deserves them, and everything she has done for the women's division in general, not just in WWE, very pivotal. So hopefully if WWE gets off their shit and lets more than one woman in the Hall of Fame at a time, as they should, hopefully we get to see Victoria this year, if not very, very soon. Also, shout out to Queen Charmel for being in the Hall of Fame now.
Yeah, congratulations, Charmel. Well deserved, absolutely. Round 7. This time I'm going to start. Number 7 in my favorite top 10 list of women. The 5'10", the 5 foot of fury, the goddess Alexa Bliss. This girl was such a interesting character to me when I first started watching her because, number 1, she's 5 foot tall, but she's not scared of anybody. Number 2, she has this innate ability, and I really think it's going to make her a movie star one day if she ever wants to pursue more than the little stuff she's done. She can act, but more importantly, she can react. when things happen around her, when something's said to her, the way her face just takes it in and thinks about it and then reacts to it is very, very hard to master that. And Alexa Bliss knows how to do that. Of course, she's one of the most decorated women in WWE history. She's like a 6-time women's champion and has done great on both brands. She's a 2-time tag team champion as well with Nikki Cross. I'm not really loving what's happening with her right now. They brought her back for Elimination Chamber, but then she keeps tweeting lately, "I'm just sitting here. You do something with me, or I'll just make noise." And I admire her for that. She knows what she's got. She knows how talented she is, and I really think that eventually, if given the rope to do so, she could really put on a mainline storyline with somebody that would really be great. She's had some good ones here and there, but they've always been centered around titles. I want to see her character work. I want to see her show how good she is at drawing emotion, whether it's as a heel or a babyface. I just really think that she's got much more in her. So unless Hollywood calls her sooner than later, I don't even think we've seen her best work yet. So Alexa Bliss, I'm a big fan, and I love it every time you're on screen. Get away from this whatever you're doing right now, because we need to see the next phase of you. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know what you ladies think, but I'm ready for the next chapter, and I hope they give it to it really soon with her. All right, that's my number 7. Marie, your number 7.
My number 7 is going to be Victoria as well. Just because she has been like super influential and like, you know, taken like her wrestling up a notch. And I'm really glad that in TNA, they gave Victoria and Mickey the spotlight for that first ever cage match. So like, you know, paving the way for like other people to like do this stuff. So that's why, you know, Victoria here is my 7th pick. And eventually, I don't know, maybe we all just say it out into the universe. WWE put her in the Hall of Fame.
Put her in the Hall of Fame.
Like, you know, why not? Like, I don't know their process of like who they decide to pick. Obviously, like someone has to be like, yes, I agree. But why not call her? You can get her number.
So it depends on what Vince took his meds that day or not. That's what it is. Over here in the chat, Kyle said, "I think that breakup with Adam Cole line hurt Katie." Y'all, Katie knows I don't want that to happen. Okay, I'm saying
he's right here. Why don't you say that? He is right there.
Adam's offended.
Yes, he is. Yes,
Adam
he
is offended, as am I. And
Katie can't cover his ears.
Oh, come on.
He's too far away.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't do it.
Y'all know what I'm saying.
Disrespectful.
Everybody's like, the only reason Becky got a push is because she was with Seth. Not true. And the same reason Britt's not getting a push because of Adam Cole. She doesn't need Adam Cole to be a star.
She got her push before Adam Cole.
That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
God forbid, if they ever broke up, it wouldn't make her less of a star or him less of a star. They don't need their relationship to be superstars. They're good, both of them on their own. That's what I mean.
I would just be sad.
I know. And Benji said, Alexa Bliss acts like a Disney theme park character. That means she acts. That's all I'm saying. At least it's not cheesy or unbelievable. At least she has a facial expression.
That means she's really good at it. Because I just went to Disney, and let me just tell you, the workers at Rise of the Resistance, fucking phenomenal. They're like, we were saying so much stupid crap to them, and they stayed in character. So you know what? Good on them. So that's I take that as a compliment if I was told that.
Yeah, and then Matt Ritter,
damn good actor.
And then Matt Ritter said Alexa's been doing her best work this last year and a half. We can agree to disagree. We can agree to disagree. She's trying to fill a void left by someone who got released. That's not.
I don't think that though.
Okay.
I mean, you could say it started like that, but she took it as her own and she made it work. I loved everything Bliss was doing with the quote unquote dark Bliss. And it was different. Like it wasn't the goddess. It wasn't whatever. It was something different and was needed right now at the time.
No, I can agree. It intrigued me. I'm just saying that after a while, when they weren't taking it anywhere and it was just that way every single week, I'm like, well, if you're not gonna do anything with it, then rebrand her, let her do something else, or let her.
Well, that's the thing. They didn't do anything with it.
Exactly.
I think it kind of peaked. I think it peaked the minute they started getting Eva Marie involved.
I agree.
When it peaked.
Eva Marie's trash.
Exactly. So
Exactly.
that means that's exactly my point, because you're mixing that with the likes of Eva Marie. Where it has no business being with Eva Marie.
The main thing is they shouldn't have brought Eva back.
Oh, I know.
Well, 100%.
I know.
But
she shouldn't have.
Bringing her back turned Alexa babyface without any, issue or any work really involved. So
I know, right?
That helped. 100%. I agree. Let's see. Katie, you're number 7.
I'm going China.
The ninth wonder of the world.
I've always loved China, like pivotal in the Attitude Era, member of DX. You could arguably the strongest person of DX in the first woman in a men's Royal Rumble match. Everything she did in this business was impeccable. It was great. Holding a men's championship in WWE, which was unheard of. Like, she helped try and put the other women at the time over if she could. There wasn't a whole lot, but she tried. And everything she did, she's literally history.
Yeah.
Like, that's everything about China is like what should have been. Like, that's how you treat a star before everything went to hell with Triple H and all of that. That's neither here nor there.
Right.
How she got treated after that is bullshit. And everything after that. And another person who put her solely in the Hall of Fame. She doesn't need to be, I mean, putting her with DX, that's fine. But everything she did for this business.
Yes.
You have the likes of so many other people and so many people who have done shitty, horrible, illegal things in the Hall of Fame. You're not going to put China in the Hall of Fame for her past? That's some bullshit.
Can't argue.
I'm still mad about it.
Can't argue. They should be in there for what they did when they were in the ring and as a character, not pre or post. I agree wholeheartedly. Savannah, you're number 7.
This one's probably going to be the most out of the box entry, but again, this is all personal based, and again, I'll explain myself. But I'm going to go with Maryse, okay? Because I think Maryse is absolutely slept on. I've always loved Maryse. You know, first of all, she came in speaking no English. She was fluent in French. She spoke no English, and she's now, you know, obviously she can speak both really well now. And I think she definitely deserved more out of her career. I know they gave her the Divas Championship once, but I think it could have gone. I think she should have had a little bit of a longer reign, and I think she should have had at least one more title reign. Mm-hmm. I know there was that whole situation, if you watch Total Divas like I did, there was that whole situation where like the Bellas were like, they again allegedly prevented Maryse from re-signing a contract, and you know, obviously you could take whatever side you want. I'm not here to say I'm taking Maryse's side completely, but there was a point in her career where she didn't re-sign.
Right.
Won't say the reason why. I won't say, oh, it's because of this, but she didn't re-sign. And, you know, I don't think we had seen her since until she came back to help The Miz out in 2016. I remember because we had just gone to the Mania in Dallas, and then the night after, Zack Ryder lost his title because Maryse came back.
Okay.
And I was really excited to see her. And, you know, I don't think Maryse gets enough props. Like, this is the same woman who gave birth to her first child, an emergency C-section birth, and 3 months later, she was in the ring competing in a Hell in a Cell match. Well, not in a Hell in a Cell match, but the pay-per-view. She was competed 3 months later in a mixed tag match. I know it was a mixed tag match, so, you know, she wasn't in the match the whole time. But the fact is, she came back, she got into shape, and she got cleared, and she was ready to compete. And I don't think, as far as I know, as far as I can think of, no other mother in wrestling has done that. They've taken months out of their lives to come back. I know with Becky Lynch, they wanted to wait for the right time, but Maryse was backing at it in 3 months. Yeah. Okay, like some people aren't even back at work, you know, working their desk jobs after 3 months. So the fact is, she got her stomach cut open, she got the baby taken out, you know, and she recovered. She got herself in shape, and she got herself ready to go in 3 months. And that is something I will always hold praise for her for. Yeah. And I just think that, you know, and we got to see her again in another mixed tag match in the Royal Rumble. And I want to see her in a Royal Rumble match because I know there's still more to Maryse than people, you know, like to believe. I just see it. I know there's potential there. And I know Maryse was definitely a lot better than they gave her credit for, or that they let her show. So that's why she's on my top 10. But again, it's all personal based. It's
no, that 100%. That's what this is all about. And I understand everywhere you're coming from. Great. Marie, we're going to start round 6 with you. Who's number 6?
So I have one half of the Beautiful People, Velvet Sky, is my number 6. Just because, like, I immediately fell in love with the whole concept of the beautiful people of Angelina Love and Velvet Sky, but Velvet Sky always stood out to me more. Her whole demeanor of like her being sexy and confident, like that kind of helped me growing up and everything. So, that's one of the reasons why I have her on here. Looking back, you could be like, yeah, the wrestling could have been improved, but like for the time being in TNA, they needed women with storylines and stuff like that, and just doing the best that they can. And she's one hell of a good tag team partner. And she's very cool to talk to, like one-on-one. She's super sweet. So Velvet Sky is definitely my number 6.
Good pick. Wow, awesome. Katie, who's your number 6?
I'm going the EST of WWE, Bianca Belair. The strongest, the fastest, everything. Literally, Bianca is the epitome of having it all.
Yes.
She makes her own gear. She's made gear for the Street Profits. Obviously, her husband Montez Ford, and then Dawkins. Her main eventing Mania with Sasha, which was one hell of a match.
Incredible match.
One of the best female matches in a long fucking time. Everything she did in NXT, her character work has been phenomenal. She's going to take the belt back at Mania. I'm very excited. And literally, her career has been so short. And she's done so much in that short span of time. She's only going to progress, obviously, because she's Bianca, but even her hitting the KOD on Dewdrop for the first time, everyone's just like, literally one of the strongest women, one of the strongest people on your roster. And I hope that we finally get to just see her be the star that she is and continue to be, and she just gets shot straight to the moon.
Love it. Great. Savannah, who's number 6?
Number 6, I think Katie's gonna like this. I'm going with Lita because she is, an absolute badass. Kind of throwing it back to Paige where I said she was, not like the rest. She stood out in her own way, and that was Lita. She was, the standout, but she was a phenomenal standout. It was in the best way possible. She was in the first, Raw, like the first main event of Raw with the women, against Trish. It was a hell of a match. Lita, we saw at Elimination Chamber, she could still go, and I would like to see her, come back again. Like, please, Lita, I know we keep saying one more, but just one more after that, please. I just want to see more of her, because it was so good to see her back, and I didn't personally, I kind of started watching wrestling a little bit after Lita's time, but I went back, when the network was around and stuff, I went back and watched, and I loved everything I saw from Lita. I loved, how I said, with Paige, she is different. She didn't have to dress all, cutesy and stuff to be one of the top women at the time, especially during a time when the women, was all about the tits and ass,
Right.
Lita didn't have to do that to be the fucking best. So that's why she is, right there in the top 10. Again, I'm not saying she's staying at number 6 and that's where she belongs. Again,
right.
Like I said, 4 through 10 kind of fluctuates. But
right.
yeah, I definitely had to include her in the list.
Absolutely, yeah. Going back again, this is not who we're calling the best. These are our favorites, and the numbers can move depending on our mood of the day. Actually,
yeah, so someone may not be top 10.
Exactly, yeah. Somebody does a terrible promo. Oh, they're down a spot now. Yeah, you never know. But speaking of, and again, this is gonna be hit or miss. She fluctuates up and down the list depending on what kind of a year she's had. But my number 6 is the Queen Charlotte Flair. On the stick, is she the best? No. Is her character the best character? She owns it. She makes it her. Is a lot of where she is because of her dad? Yes. And we all know how Vince is about nepotism. 100%. But put all that aside. Strip the girl down and just put her based on her in-ring ability and her ability to call a match, run a match, and elevate who's in the ring with her. I would argue there's probably nobody better than Charlotte Flair. She is so much a ring general. And when you watch her from just a pure athletic perspective, you can tell she's holding back. Only in a rare match with someone like Bianca or somebody like Sasha who can keep up with her athletically do you see her pull out these things. You're like, holy crap, Charlotte can do that. It's just really, really awesome to watch her. She's going to be revalued more when her career's over, because right now everybody's blinded by how many times she's been champion, how many main event titles she's had, and how many times she's going to main event WrestleMania. All that stuff is blinding people from how good she really is. But when all that's taken away and her career is cut, it's a lot of it's the same reason I would have put Charlotte in the same category as Triple H. When he was champion, well, it's who's his daddy? Who's his father-in-law? Who's he married to? All of that. But then when people sit back now and look at him, they go, okay, he is the cerebral assassin. He is one of the smartest in the ring ever. He is a guy that didn't have to win, and when he lost, the other person looked like $1 million. Charlotte is the same way. And you can argue about her personality. You can argue about a lot of stuff she's having to deal with. But when all is said and done, she's going to be valued for that. I don't love what she's doing right now. I don't like this angle right now with Ronda. I'm hoping the match will justify the story, but that's just for being there. I'm not gonna give her anything but praise for that. So could she do better? Yes. Could her fans be better? Yes, 100%. But when it's all said and done, she's going to go down as probably one of, if not the greatest in-ring performers of all time when it comes to women's wrestling. So that's why I have her at my number 6. This time we're going to start with you, Katie. Who's your number 5?
My number 5 is Rhea Ripley.
Good pick.
NXT UK Women's Champion, NXT Women's Champion, Women's Tag Team Champion. She's 24, 25. She's younger than me, and I'm 25, turning 26. Everything she has done in her career, Mae Young Classic, transforming from the Charlotte lookalike to being this beautiful, badass brutality woman she is today. I love Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
I have a feeling like they won't win the titles at Mania or in Live, and that's fine, but she's going to be at Mania. First woman to have the NXT Women's Championship on WrestleMania, even though I don't think she should have lost to Charlotte, but that's neither here nor there.
If the stadium was full of fans, she wouldn't have.
Yeah. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yep.
But everything about Rhea Ripley, like that's like my type of style. I was explaining before, I couldn't find my Rhea shirts, like I had to go with Medusa, but she is just one of those people I love, I relate to. Everything about Rhea is a star, and I just wish they would show her like a star that she is.
Yeah, I keep forgetting she's only 25. She's so young. So people may not realize that Bianca is, I think, 33. So yeah, Rhea's got time. I really think that her later 20s and early 30s, she's going to be number 1 across so many categories. I really believe that. I think if they give her the ability to break out and be what she can be, she'll be up there. I really believe that. Savannah, you're number 5.
My number 5, I am going with the Glamazon Beth Phoenix, because I've always loved Beth Phoenix. She's just absolutely incredible. And it's just, again, like, I don't know what it was. Like, she's always just been like one of my favorites, I've always loved the whole Glamazon thing. She was in the she was, one of the few women who was in the men's Royal Rumble match, Not many people can say that, that you have her with the likes of China, as one of those few. So that's already a huge accolade in itself. And, she was, I don't know, I just feel like for me personally, she played a big role in, defining women's wrestling.
Agreed.
And her coming back to work with Edge was super badass, especially like I loved her hair. I was like, oh my God, that is fucking awesome. She, or even when she came back in the Royal Rumble, and she hit the back of her head against the ring post, and she was just bleeding everywhere.
And went 10 more minutes.
She kept going. And I was like, you would have never, if her hair was like dark and you couldn't see the blood, you would have never guessed that she was hurt. Like literally it was just the big red patch on the back of her head that made you see, oh shit, she's hurt. But like the fact, other than that, you would have never noticed. So, and she's just amazing, and again, another mother who, has shown that, even having kids does not stop you from returning to the ring at some point. I know she's, she did commentary in NXT for a while, and she really didn't go back to full-time wrestling,
right.
but she came back at some point to wrestle, and she looks incredible. And, she's even done, tag stuff with, like, Natalia. I know people, it's like hit or miss for people, but I personally, as someone who really loves Bret Hart, I really liked the whole thing they did with, Natty and Bret at WrestleMania 35, was it? I think. I thought that was cool. I love the Hitman, so anything with him, I'm like, all right, I'm in.
Right.
But yeah, she's just incredible overall. So gotta put the Glamazon up there.
Yeah, I agree. Sean's my goat, and I still love the Hitman. And Beth Phoenix is. I hope she's not done either, and I really hope if she does ever come back to commentary, it's on one of the main shows.
Oh, for sure. Like,
yeah,
she should join Pat McAfee and Michael Cole on SmackDown. I might as well.
Honestly, I could do without Byron. Put her there.
Hey, I'm like,
all right.
Yeah, she belongs on the main roster.
I agree.
Commentary. She did absolutely. She killed it in NXT on commentary.
Heck, let her book the women's division. She'd kill it.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything she does, she's a brilliant in-ring psychologist, and she's and I everything you said, I echo it. My number 5. A girl that went from the bottom of my ranking in the 4 horsewomen to now being one of the top, and that's Bayley. I love Bayley. She is one of the few women that you don't think about her as being a great until she steps in the ring, and she's like, yes, I am a great. There is so much that is just fluid about her transitioning, her toughness, her ability to register and sell, her ability to make something look painful, her facial expressions. When she gets on the mic, she makes you hate her or she makes you love her, and she shoots from the hip. Everything she does it to her utmost ability. You can tell that she loves what she's doing, and I flat out miss her. I miss her so much. It's amazing the void that's been left since her injury. And this will be the 3rd straight WrestleMania she will not wrestle in front of fans. She gets shafted over and over again with all these crazy things happening around her. And hopefully I honestly, y'all can tell me if you disagree or not, I don't want to see her the Raw after Mania. Even if she doesn't wrestle, give her a WrestleMania moment. Let her come out at the end of a match, or let her break up a match, or let her do something that, that lets everybody remember, okay, I'm back. I believe she deserves that. In front of 100,000 people in Jerry's World. I believe she deserves that. Don't wait till the Monday Night Raw after to let us see her, or the SmackDown after. Let her show up at WrestleMania and steal the show in some way. That's what I want to see.
You see, like, I hope that happens too. I'm not saying that I don't want it to happen, but like the only reason why I'm personally not holding on to hope in that regard, especially at Mania, is because I think they're gonna have Mr. Cody Rhodes himself do that already. So I don't know if they're gonna like have something. I would much rather have Bayley, because fuck Cody Rhodes, but Bayley's so much better than Cody Rhodes,
Oh, Bayley would stretch him.
Bayley did not need Daddy's legacy to get to where she is.
But, wow.
Savannah.
But yeah.
He sounds like me sometimes when I'm like, fuck Cody for this and that. Like, for certain
exactly. Like, we need to talk. I think, like, Maria,
I totally know where she's coming from for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I need to hit you up, Marie.
Hey, we gotta figure out a way who can help us turn Seth Rollins heel. Let's get Cody. he'll turn him babyface, that's for sure. Because oh my gosh, I will never cheer for Cody over Seth. No way. Even
when I hated Rollins the most, which was when he was feuding with Ambrose, I would not cheer for Rhodes over Rollins.
No. Go ahead, Marie. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that it would have been funny if someone in the back in WWE was like, bringing up the whole thing of how we're gonna turn like Rollins heel or face or give him an opponent. I don't know why no one would have said Bayley. Like you two were best friends on that show that Bayley had. Yeah. So why doesn't she just come back and like give you a match and beat the shit out of you and let's see what happens.
There you
go. There we go.
Seth would do it. Seth would do it. Like, yeah, he ain't afraid.
He would.
No. Yeah, I know he would. Yeah, 100%. All right, Marie, keep talking. Who's your number 5?
All right. So my number 5 is gonna be Trish, because like I adore her, and what I really adore the most is that when she came into WWE, obviously she was, part of the Divas and like being sexy and being that model. And then all of a sudden she was like, nah, I can still be sexy and be a model, but I want to do what the guys want to do. Right. And like, got in there and learned and like took those bumps and took, all the pain that comes with it, and to just show like a new generation of that, like women could do it too. You don't always have to come in as like the model type, even if that was like the WWE thing. But I think that Trish just like sort of transcends the idea of that, like you could still be sexy, do this, get hurt, and come back the next day and still hang with the boys and get that respect. So I have Trish as my number 5.
Great.
Trish is like the definition of it's more than a pretty face. Like that is Trish Stratus.
100%. Savannah, this time we're going to start with you. Who's number 4?
Number 4, probably would have been a little higher up, but after I think a little too extended of a title reign, kind of dropped her down, but I'm going with the Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Still love and respect her. Again, I think her title reign got a little stale towards the end, so I think that's what kind of dropped her down a bit. But kind of like how you mentioned earlier, Britt is the definition of like improvement.
Yes.
Like there's anyone who has shown more improvement in the ring in like such a short amount of time, especially during the pandemic era. That was Britt Baker.
Wow.
She took that pandemic era and made it like she took full advantage and completely built herself.
I would argue her and Moxley carried the whole pandemic on their back in AEW, arguably.
Probably. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree at all. Britt especially, because like she got injured and she was still showing up and doing promos. She did the whole role model thing on the wheelchair. She did the whole conspiracy shit with Aubrey Edwards and stuff. So she still was showing up, injured and all, and she is, definitely I guess was, but neither here or there. Like the face of the women's division, and I think she could be pretty soon.
She still is.
She's going.
She still is.
At the rate she's going, she could be the face of women's wrestling. I think she's done such a good job, and it's just so inspirational that she's a full-time dentist as well, like outside of it. Like she has her own dentist's office, and she goes and cleans teeth by day, but by night she is the DMD that breaks people's jaws in the middle of the ring. Gotta love it. And again, she just has phenomenal mic work. One of my all-time favorite promos now is when she completely shat on Cleveland when in her Pittsburgh gear. She wore the jacket. I thought that was phenomenal. Like my dad doesn't watch AEW.
Right.
But I showed him that promo and he loved it. Like he was laughing and shit because we personally like the little shots they take like at the sports teams and stuff. So especially
I'm okay
football.
With that.
Yeah. So and like the fact that she kept tearing into Baker Mayfield and Cleveland, with her Pittsburgh gear, I thought that was hilarious. He thought it was hilarious too, as someone who doesn't watch Britt Baker. Even like my mom, she doesn't watch wrestling at all, but she was out with her fiance at dinner or whatever, and they had TVs on, and Rampage was on.
Right.
And Britt Baker was on, and she was like, "Oh my God, there was this." She's like, "I don't know if you watched this show, but it was wrestling, and there was this girl, and she was wearing red, and her makeup was so beautiful, and she just beat the shit out of this other lady." And it was so cool to see. I was like, I think I know who it is, and I pulled up the picture of Britt. I'm like, "Is this her?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's her." And I was
awesome.
like, "Yeah, she's one of my favorites." And I was like, my mom, who doesn't like wrestling, doesn't know anything about it, saw Britt and was already, she kind of just looking at her. She was like, she looks so put together. She looks so cool. I'm like, that it takes a lot,
Yeah.
So Britt has been, such, and like I can't even say the word. She's just so phenomenal.
She is.
And I don't know, like I'm trying to think of words. Like I've seen her briefly of her Ring of Honor work. And she was still good, but I definitely think AEW is where she definitely grew into the wrestler she was.
This is her time.
So that's why she's so high up. Because I think just the improvement that she showed that she can make, turning heel was the best thing she could have ever done. I know some people didn't like that she turned heel, but I was like, little did they know it was gonna grow into something amazing. And that is Britt Baker for you.
Agreed. I've got her at number 8, and she'll probably be my number 5 when it's all said and done, or up in my top 5 when it's all said and done. 100%.
So I had to go with the Doc.
Great. I agree wholeheartedly. Everything you said. Number 4 for me, I think that the WWE needs to ask Lex Luger to release his trademark of the total package and give it to this girl. Because my number 4, I'm on my own against the wall. Oh my gosh. I love the EST Bianca Belair. fastest,
Oh my-
toughest, strongest, quickest, smartest, whatever you want to call her.
Couldn't
Bianca
agree.
Belair is the total package. This girl is so athletic. This girl is so funny. This girl is so full of sass. She's from my neck of the woods down in Tennessee. I love watching her. I love her athletic ability. I love that she's starting to. You could start every now and then when she first came out and was doing a lot of stuff in NXT. You could tell she was relying more on her gifts and on her ability. But now when you watch her in the ring, she's thinking, and I love that about her. Okay, how can I get the crowd with me here? How can I make this move matter? How can I slow this down a little bit? How can I say something? And even now with the way they're using her hair as an angle, I've been saying forever, when a woman wants to get the utmost heat in the WWE and be the most hated woman in the company, take a knife and cut that braid and you are hated. And if they will allow Becky to do this, not a soul will cheer her in Texas. Everybody will get behind Bianca Belair and want to see her win that title. So I don't know if they're willing to go there, because man, that is tough, but I believe that's the answer to this, because that will give her so much more love and get her up to the next level. She's already a superstar, and everybody's like, she's the future, she's the future. Dadgum, she's the present. She owns that ring. When the moment her music hits, anybody else in the ring is second now. She is the star. All eyes are on her. Everybody's watching to see what she's going to do. So 100%, I think she's going to have a well-decorated career. I hope she stays safe and stays at the top of her game, because very few women can match her athletically, and very few women can match her character-wise. Bianca is phenomenal. That's why she's my number 4. Marie, who's your number 4?
Well, if I'm gonna have Trish, I have to have her best buddy in the whole world, Lita, as my number 4. I was trying to find some loopholes for this show to try to put them together, because you can't have one without the other. But I'll put it like that. Obviously, it could switch at any given time, however I feel. But they just worked.
Right.
Lita and Trish worked well together. Lita on her own was still a badass, coming from Mexico, training there, and then bringing what she knew to the WWE. And throughout her career, she sort of evolved into being with the Hardys, and then being with Edge, and having that. We're not gonna mention the live sex celebration, because that shit was stupid. That should never happen. But other than that,
I wish I could unsee that so bad.
Yeah,
I wish I could
man.
unsee it.
I
Should
just
be a kid there,
they
just
never
like,
fucking
oh.
thought of it. They stupid. But her being with Edge was really good, especially that whole duo, and just making those matches and feeling that the matches were very important, very tough and urgent.
Agreed.
Lita is definitely one of the best. I enjoyed when Lita came back and had a couple matches here and there, and got the ring rust off of her in a sense, and then to be able to go over to Saudi Arabia, which is it was just an accomplishment for her anyway.
Yes.
Just beautiful all around. I have Lita as my number 4.
That's a great pick. 100%. You can't have Trish without Lita. I agree. Katie, number 4.
I'm going the Poison Pixie, Candice LeRae. Like Savannah was saying earlier, everything she did in PWG and on the Indies as basically being the only woman with all of the men. Intergender, that's one of the coolest things to me, and I wish the WWE would have got off their ass and let her do that with her husband Johnny
Right.
in NXT, because that would have been incredible. Single-handedly won that tag team match against the Young Bucks with a thumbtack shoe. Her partner doesn't exist to me anymore.
I'm like,
Who exactly?
Ooh.
Candice LeRae single-handedly won that match. Blood all over her face.
Little
She's
Candice.
yeah, literally 5 foot Candice LeRae.
Yeah.
She took it like a champ. She's incredible. I'm glad she got to showcase what she did in the women's division NXT, her matches with Mia Yim, her partnership in tag team titles with Indy Hartwell. That the Way was such a good faction for them, and her turning heel on Io, and everything she did was very beautiful. And now she gets to be a mom, and then if she wants to, she can come back
Right.
to wrestling in general and do it and still kick ass. And hopefully, I kind of just want to see her go to the Indies or just hit Impact so she can fight men, because she can. So, but everything she's done for the business, I'm going Candice LeRae as my number 4.
Let's say, Katie, I want to pose a question to you, and Savannah, you've had her on your list too. All three of y'all actually can talk about this. Do you think Johnny's waiting to pull the trigger on his career because he wants to see what's going to happen with her career too?
Probably. Like, I think that
I don't know.
I think I can see it, but also, you know, he is a dad. They just had a kid, so he's probably trying to focus on that, you know, being a dad for a bit before trying to go back.
I think
but
he
can
just
kinda,
wants to be a dad right now.
Yeah.
daddy wrestling.
I agree.
Like, I think they just want to soak in this moment of having their first kid together.
Yeah.
And like just
Yeah.
enjoy being parents. And like, I think Candace's contract expires in April if she doesn't resign, which
Right.
at this rate, why even resign? Like, just
Why?
take care of your kid.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but she can if she wants to. And then just like when she comes back, it's there. But I think they both, like, he's probably just enjoying his time
Yeah.
being with his wife and his new son. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And I love that placement. I would love for Candace to be there, quite frankly. Impact needs a new Johnny Impact. He'd fit the mold pretty well.
He is a Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love it. Wholeheartedly. I love it. Okay, let's see. Who are we up to now? Oh, we're up to me, number 3. Number 3. Again, like I said, my top 3 are probably never going to change. They may swap back and forth a little bit, but I don't think they're ever going to leave the top 3. My number 3, Hardcore Country. Mickie James, one of the best to ever lace up a pair of boots, men or women. Men or women. Mickie James is incredible. 6-time WWE Women's Champion, multiple-time Impact Knockouts Champion, and if she went into any other promotion, she'd win gold there too. She is a master in-ring psychologist. She is in full control of her athletic ability. Her character work is flawless. From the I got a crush on Trish to the feud she had with Melina, the feud she had with all the divas. She made the divas matches tolerable half the time because she was in there knowing what to do. And then when she came over to Impact and got herself bloody in cage matches and fought hardcore matches and had feuds with the beautiful people and with Gail Kim and all of the other women that she had there, and then came back to WWE to help get the women elevated, her career is just a high spot after high spot, championship after championship, and every time she steps in the ring, I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be one of the best matches of the night. And I'm so thrilled she got to have her moment at the Royal Rumble, carrying the Knockout Women's Championship down that WWE ramp. Whoever thought that would ever happen? But because it's Mickie James, it was able to happen. And I'm so thankful now to see what she's doing in Impact, helping elevate the next generation of knockouts there, from Deonna Purrazzo to Natasha Shields to anybody else that she's going to help work with. But man, when it's all said and done, if you don't have Mickie James, if not in your favorite, if you don't at least acknowledge her as one of the best ever women's wrestlers of all time, then I just don't know what kind of program and product you're watching, because she is just incredible. I love Mickie James. Thank you, Mickie, for everything you do. Marie, number 3.
You know, you said not to no solids, but great minds think alike. I have Mickie as my number 3 as well. You know, just because like she's been super influential.
Yes.
She basically broke her own barriers and definitely, you know, ushered in more women. I love, you know, when she first came into the business to when she took time off and then like to come back again and still be a badass, still creating stories for the women, still trying to elevate the women, especially doing NWA Empower.
Yes.
Like to have that, like I need a part 2 to Empower. And you know, it's joyous when people come back and like they're better than they once were. Not enough, like, I mean, we could praise her all day. I don't really know what else to say because you already took everything.
Well,
but
I didn't mention Empower. I'm glad you did. Yeah, that was her baby, and she killed it. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate Mickie James for everything that she's done in the business. That's why she's like, you know, my number 3.
Great. Katie, who's your number 3?
I'm going with someone who's very underutilized and underappreciated for all the work she is still doing in the ring. I'm going with Naomi.
Oh, great pick.
She is one of the most talented people, not women, talented people you have in that business right now.
Yes.
She is everything she has done, from starting with the NXT shitty reality show that it was, starting there, Team Bad, like her Funkadactyls, Feel the Glow, everything she's done.
Mm-hmm.
I think she definitely should be more than just like a 1-2 time champion. Like, it's not okay. Like, how do you not see the star that you have right there?
Think she's gonna be a
It's
tag
insane
champion?
to me. I think her and Sasha are gonna win, yeah. I mean, it makes the most sense. Like I said, I don't think Rhea and Liv would win, but I'm hoping like Sasha and Naomi get that. And like they deserve it. And like that's an actual tag team that has been a tag team before. And like there's the history with that.
Yep.
Everything she's done. I personally still wish she would just join the bloodline because like it makes sense and it's just right there. Her feud with Sonya is great. I really just wanted that to end in a cage. Neither here nor there. But she's just so pivotal in the women's division now and has been for years.
Agreed.
Her being the first female to do the Kofi Kingston spots at like WrestleMania.
Yes.
Jesus, the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
My God.
Or that pay-per-view.
Whatever pay-per-view that is, exactly. But everything she's done, like I just literally wish they would see what they have in her before she's gone.
Yes.
Because she's just incredible. Mic, in-ring work, backstage, everything she does, she is a goddamn star. So that's why Naomi is always going to be in top 3 for me.
Forgive me. She's not 40 yet, is she?
No, she shouldn't be.
I don't know.
Mid-30s? Because Jimmy and Jay are 36, I think. So
I'll check too.
I say, surely she's around there. I was going to say, surely she's got at least 5-6 more years of a good active career. I mean, they can go to the 50 if they want to, if they can handle
she's
it. But
34.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, she's got time. She's got time to make a lot of history. I agree. Awesome. Savannah, number 3.
Okay, so for my number 3, I'm gonna go with Miss AJ Lee because agree to disagree, but when they talked about the whole women's revolution, like when Stephanie officially announced it and they brought in Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha, that was not the start of the revolution.
Nope.
AJ Lee was the start of the revolution. They just
100%.
didn't acknowledge it. Because AJ Lee was the, with the pipe bomb, she was the one who pretty much said, like, she did the iconic line, talent isn't sexually transmitted. She said that to the Bellas, which, ouch. I'm not gonna say if I liked it or not, because I'm not here to get ripped to shreds. But yeah, AJ Lee was the revolution. I know people are going to argue that it was, the 4 horsewomen. I know people are going to argue and say it's the Bellas. I'm like, it is not them.
I would say it's
AJ.
Impact. I would say Impact kicked off the real revolution. Yeah.
True. Okay, that is true. But in WWE, if you want to keep it strictly there, it was all AJ.
Yep.
And, it's just... she retired early. It was probably due because of her neck. I know CM Punk had mentioned that she has a bad neck, so that's probably why.
Right.
But she went out with a bang. I absolutely hated. I know it was like an ironic thing, but I still hated the way she lost her Divas Championship.
Yes.
It was the longest reign at the time. And if that was gonna be the last reign we've ever seen from AJ Lee, if I was gonna be, if her longest championship reign was going to be overtaken by the next person, you could have at least had a nice classic, history-making match.
Right. But
now we will ever be known for the freaking kiss that Brie Bella laid on her lips, which I don't think that's mad disrespectful to AJ and all she's done to elevate the women's division, and everyone she's worked with, like, with John Cena, Dolph Ziggler, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, she is... she's a modern day trailblazer, and I'm so glad that she's still working. She's working with Women of Wrestling, so I'm glad she's working. She has some involvement in women's wrestling, and I'm glad if she can't be in the ring, at least she can help others, be just as damn good in the ring.
Agreed.
So that's why she is going to be in the top 3. And again, like, it might never change. She will always be in the top 3 because again, she was at least the WWE revolution that some people refuse to acknowledge. Again, some people think it's the Bella, some people think it's the Horsewoman. I'm like, I'm sorry, but without AJ, there would be no Horsewoman to break the walls down.
Agreed.
AJ was like the sledgehammer that was like, that they used to break those walls down.
100%. She kicked that door open with her Chuck Taylors and did it loudly.
Exactly. And she's one of the reasons why I love Chuck Taylors. Like, I love Converse, and it's mostly because of her.
Yep.
I still get them to this day.
Yep. All right. Next time, we're in our... here we go, guys. The creme de la creme. We're at the top 2 now. This time, Marie, we're going to start with you. Who's your number 2?
I have Natalia as my number 2.
Oh, Arya just rage quit.
Man, he can rage quit is okay, man. Like, I love Natalia, man.
Yeah,
she,
so do I.
I hate that, I don't know what it is with like Vince or like the history that he has with like the Hart family and stuff. Like, I get it. Things can happen, but let bygones be bygones and let Natalia like really work over the whole entire division to make them stronger. And to actually give her flowers that like she deserves. Like, she's been in WWE forever. And I'm like,
She's got every women's record pretty much except title champion. That's it. Every other record she has it. Yeah.
And she's also in the Guinness Book of World Records too.
3 times.
No one else is.
Yeah.
So it's like, why can't she carry, the division on her back for like, maybe 6 months, maybe a year to give her, her flowers. Like, sometimes in my head, I'm like, the day that she decides to not renew that WWE contract, she's going to be a menace on the Indies, AEW, Impact, MLW. Hell, even like if she went over to Stardom, like, she'll be a fucking menace. I can't like wait for that Natalia to like really be unleashed. But she's number 2 because like she's did everything. I just want the best for her because I know that she's the best thing in this business.
Mm-hmm.
And she always puts everyone else first, and like she takes everything last.
Yeah.
And it's like, Natalia, I love you, girl, but like sometimes you gotta be like, no, it's about me first. Other than that, like I do have like a little mini story. Like, when I first met her, it was over here in like New York City. We had the ice cream place, Cold Stone.
Right.
Yeah, because I always mix it up. So
Yep.
I want to make sure I need to mix it up.
I love Cold Stone.
So myself and my family members got invited because at the time my ex best friend was going through like ovarian cancer. So like she was with Make-A-Wish. So like we got the chance to like meet her and meet other WWE superstars at the time. And like Natalia is like such a fucking sweetheart. And I was just
She's
like,
Mama
oh, this is
Natty.
so cool.
Yeah.
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 She's such a sweetheart, and like, that's one of my best moments of like meeting her, even though the situation was kind of like a little sad or whatever, but
Right.
just meeting her, and seeing how much of a sweetheart she is, and then seeing all the work that she does behind the scenes, like, training Liv Morgan and like also training with like David Finlay too and stuff like that. And just, being there, and like she doesn't get her fucking flowers.
Right.
Like, but Iron could be angry, he could message me in DM. It's all good. But Natty will always be my number 2.
All right. Well, speaking of over here in the chat, let's see here. They're asking what everybody else's top 10s are. And Vince is, of course, going off and on about SheLite. Yeah, I'm so excited to have them. Let's see here. JJ says Natty does deserve her flowers, and he says I can give a 5, but I've only been watching wrestling since 2015. Yeah, that's one of the difficulties of doing a list like this is, especially like for I'll just give you this. I don't know what you ladies' history is with wrestling. I took 2 hiatuses in wrestling right after WCW shut down. I didn't watch until like 2003 or 4, and then I went away during the whole PG era after Punk basically was not allowed to be Punk anymore. I left and I didn't come back until 2018. So a lot of these, so that's why I said I missed Gail Kim's career. I missed AJ Lee. I missed, a lot of the tail end of what Victoria was doing. So that's why a lot of these ladies aren't up on my list, because I try to be subjective. And if I don't have an emotional attachment to your work and what you did because I didn't watch you, then it's hard for me to put you on this list. But like, I'll just go ahead and say right now, I don't have China on this list. I'm just now watching the Attitude Era sequentially because I missed it. And so at the end of the day, she's going to be in my top 10 of all time best list, but she's not going to be in my favorites list because I don't have an attachment to her. So let me ask you that before we get to the next round. Did you guys kind of have the same problem when it comes to attachment or separating best from favorite kind of thing?
Yeah, and that's, again, like, China's not on my list either. That's not because I don't love her or don't respect her.
Right.
But again, I'm like little youngling. I'm barely gonna turn 21 next month.
Right.
So I didn't grow up. My dad, on the other hand, he was the one who grew up watching China.
Right.
He's the one who got me into wrestling. So yeah, he kind of showed me stuff here and there. But I personally didn't grow up watching her. But I will acknowledge the legacy she left behind
Yes.
women's wrestling, and I will
100%.
acknowledge the fact that she is an icon, the ninth wonder of the world. And when she passed, it was pretty upsetting for me because I didn't grow up watching her,
Right.
but I understood how much she contributed to women and women's wrestling. So yeah, that's why it was a little hard to differentiate. That's why I have a lot of honorable mentions because I'm like,
Yeah.
for example, Trish Stratus. She's not on my list either, but it's because, again, I really didn't grow up watching her.
Right.
I didn't, I was more like in the Natalia, Beth Phoenix, Bellas, early Bellas,
Yeah.
around that time.
Right.
And even then, Bellas haven't really been my favorite all the time, but that's neither here or there. But yeah, so I was like, Benji, I'm going to throw hands for putting Brandy at number 3, but that's neither.
He's doing it on
He's doing it on
So I
purpose.
was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, Benji, I'm gonna throw hands.
Let's
I'm
say,
like,
yeah, he's doing it on purpose.
We can do that, right?
Yeah, but say, yeah, Chad, drop your numbers in there. Katie, Marie, Adam, go ahead. Did y'all have any trouble with separating that stuff in this list?
I mean, yeah, because I did my list yesterday, and I was like, man, favorite wrestlers, I have to think about this because I was like, yo, I have 10 spaces, who am I gonna put? My number 1 was secured automatically, and I'll tell you why when we get there.
Yeah, we're about to get there. Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, the only reason why I don't have China on the list is because I thought you guys were gonna have her on the list. So I was just it's a common thing. Everybody says
you gotta if she's your favorite, you gotta put her in there. Yeah.
But I rather introduce the fans to newer women or women who I grew up with.
Yeah.
I just had to pick who I had an emotional attachment with and who I could go back and be like, this is the match you have to watch,
right.
and this is the psychology that they do because all I do on my show is break down matches.
Right.
So if I'm able to break down the match and have you turn to be a fan, then that's why I picked the list the way that I did for this show.
Katie, what about you? How hard was this list for you?
It was like I said, some of these I knew were going to be on there in some way, shape, or another. My top 3 is always going to be my top 3. But thinking about women who I still love or used to love when I was younger, it definitely was a lot more difficult than I thought, and to just narrow down 10.
Yeah.
I have a few honorable mentions, but trying to get the 10, and like I said, the 4 through 10 is always gonna fluctuate.
Right.
But yeah, my top 3 is always gonna be top 3, so that part wasn't hard.
All right. Well, speaking of Katie, who's number 2?
Trish Stratus, that. Trish and Lita main eventing Raw was that was peak childhood for me. Witnessing that, I got to see them wrestle each other at Survivor Series. I couldn't even tell you what year it was at this time. But I got to see that. Trish was like Marie said, she was more than just the typical diva at the time.
Yeah.
Everything she did for the business, her when Finley was tasked with keeping the women whatever,
yes.
He was in charge of the women's division, and he showed them no, this is how you're gonna do it, this is how you're gonna sell, and they all were for it, and that definitely helped elevate Trisha's career. Everything with Lita, everything with Mickey, her coming back multiple times, her match with Charlotte, even though that's definitely not how it should have went, and I neither here nor there. But Trish has always been just the staple of the women's division, and a lot of people can attribute what they do in this business now to Trish and Lita and women of that age,
right?
That time period, and Trish is still doing amazing work outside of WWE, everything with her fitness, she's acting, she's a mom, she's in the Hall of Fame, rightfully so.
She can do it all. Yeah.
She's
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Exactly. She's always been one of those personal favorites of mine, and I've always loved the music is great, her outfits were always incredible, her the bow when she retired, officially retired in the beginning, that everything about it is amazing. So Trish has got to be my number 2.
Awesome. Looking over here in the chat real quick. Vince is in the same boat with us. He said my top 3 is set, but the 10 names are fluctuating. And Benji says Savannah is on it today. She's always on it. You just got to tune in and watch her. And JJ said, outside of the majors, Trish, Adora, Holiday, yeah. Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace is going to be, she's going to be remembered for a long time the way she's going. She's doing incredible work. Faye Jackson. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's so many names. To narrow it down to your favorite 10 is hard, but we're giving it the best shot we have. Savannah, who's number 2?
Okay. So I haven't watched this wrestler for long, I will admit. I've kind of gone back to go look at some past matches, but as far as as long as I've watched, hasn't been long. But let me tell you, the reason why this woman is so high up on my list is because there is no other match except my top 1 wrestler that has made me cry like such a little baby, and that is Miss Thunder Rosa herself.
Woo!
Okay? Yeah.
San Antonio!
Yeah. First of all, she represents my people. I already explained this and had a meltdown on SheLite, okay? So you can go watch that. You can watch me cry like a baby there. I'm not going to cry here, okay? I already did enough crying. But yeah, so she represents my people. If you guys have not checked this out or have heard me say it, I'm from El Paso, Texas, okay?
Yep.
You know, that is the predominantly Hispanic city. You know, we are a 10-minute drive from the border of Mexico. So we're predominantly Hispanic, to say the least. And so watching someone like Thunder Rosa, not only, I saw briefly of her, but I went back and watched some of her matches in NWA after she came to AEW, because I was immediately in love with her. First and foremost, because of the representation. You know, I immediately fell in love with the face paint. I thought that was so fucking cool.
Yes.
And she shows that she can fucking hang. That was kind of her thing with Britt. You know, she shows that she can belong, that she can be the face of the women's division. And now look at her, she's fucking champion. You know, she's finally she's finally the women's champion. She's finally going to run the AEW women's division as she fucking deserves. And she showed that, you know, she in the NWA, she showed she can hang. In AEW, she has certainly shown that she can hang. And she's been in GCW a few times. She showed that she can fucking hang. So Thunder Rosa is absolutely phenomenal. Big regret is I wish I would have seen more of her sooner.
Right.
But I'm glad that I'm not too late for the ride. And again, seeing her win, I have, except my top female wrestler, no other woman has ever made me cry like a little baby like that, winning a match. You know, we all knew she was gonna win. It just made so much sense. But just
in the moment, though, it was real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had literally just gotten ready for the show, and I had to pull myself together, and I still had to drive myself home. And in my car, I was rehearsing what I was gonna say because I knew I was gonna cry, and I was like, I need to try not to, and I just couldn't. And no other woman has ever done that for me in wrestling. So that's why, and I think it's gonna I think it's safe to say it's gonna stay like that. Thunder Rosa will be number 2 forever and always, because she just makes a major impact for me personally and all my people in El Paso. So, you know, she made us. I know some people in El Paso who do watch AEW, and I know for a fact that she made us proud. Like, I showed my aunt her entrance, because there was that clip on Instagram, and
with the mariachi band. Yes,
exactly.
Loved
and then
it.
She came out with the flag, the jacket, the sombrero. She came out with it all, and she was like, "Oh my god, that's so incredible!" She was like, she almost got emotional. She's like, "That's." I told her they were in San Antonio. That's like a predominantly white part of Texas, and she was like, "You know, I feel like it's representation. You know, it's showing that people like." You know, anyone who wants to think that anyone because of their race or ethnicity is lesser than, absolutely fucking not. That's not the case. And Thunder Rosa just proved that. And she has been proving it. So that's why she's at my number 2.
Beautiful. Yeah. I lived in San Antonio for 6 years, so I was wondering if any of my friends down there that are somewhat wrestling fans were at that show. But yeah, when that happened, I know everybody was like, it should have happened at Revolution. I'm like, but then when they said it's going to come to San Antonio, I'm like, no, yes, this is where it needs to be, in front of her family. Yes.
I was like, all right, I'll wait. Because again, I was pretty upset that she didn't win at Revolution, but I was like, okay, I'll wait. But again, they could have, if that's the case, they could have done like Thunder Rosa and like someone versus like Britt and Hayter or something. They didn't have to do it for the title.
No, I agree. Yeah, I didn't know the schedule, so I watched it basically kayfabe. And so when I found out it was going to be in San Antonio, I'm like, oh, this is going to feel so good when this happens. So I loved it. Yeah. I
Again,
agree.
It was emotional.
I agree. And with her Missions Pro Wrestling School, all these girls that she works with, they're about to get elevated because they're going to share time with her.
One of them we follow each other on Instagram, one of her students.
Yeah.
And she's really cool and stuff. And she told me when I did a Thunder Rosa look one time on Instagram, and then she showed it to Thunder Rosa. I'm like, oh my god! She's like, I showed Thunder Rosa your look. I'm like, oh my god, you did not have to, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, fun fact, Thunder Rosa follows the Bammer Slammer. That was a fun day when she did that. I was like, oh my gosh, I got Thunder Rosa.
If Thunder Rosa ever follows me, I'm going to lose my fucking
mind. I know.
Okay?
I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. My number 2, when it comes to my number 2, one thing is always certain. Stratisfaction is guaranteed. I love Trish Stratus. Lita, I'm going to go ahead and spoil this right now. Lita's in my honorable mentions simply because I was 100% Team Trish. 100%. So I did not like Lita. I didn't like her as a babyface or a heel because Trish was always around. But now looking back, I love Lita and I love everything Lita's done. That's why Lita's in my honorable mentions. But Trish was such a pivotal part of me watching wrestling as a young man because watching Trish proved to me, okay, they don't have to be just eye candy. They don't have to be just valets or managers. Trish said, screw this. Watch what I can do. And man, did she won. I remember Bully Ray said this on Busted Open. If he could give the most improved from day 1 to final day and also hardest worker from day 1 to final day, he said only 2 people I've ever seen earn that, and one of them was Trish Stratus. And you could just tell watching her, the way she would literally, the bumps, the bruises, the broken nose, everything. She's like, screw it. I'll put a face mask on. I'm getting back in that ring. You can't stop me. And so I just love that about her. She made every match matter. Agreed. She would come back and elevate women. When she was number 30 in the Royal Rumble, you could just tell it was like okay, I know Charlotte Flair's sitting at sidelines, but here comes the real queen. Here comes the one who has earned arguably. Okay, she won't ever be the most decorated of all time, but I don't think you can argue. If you say Trish Stratus is the greatest women's champion of all time, I'm not going to argue with you. There's so much respect and honor she has deserved. And like Katie said, the movies, the being a mom, the fitness she's doing, speaking out for women and for women to be elevated. And I honestly hope, same thing I hope with Natty and same thing I hope with girls like that. If they ever want to do a full-time job back in the business, please get backstage and be a loud voice in that room and book these matches and book these storylines. Trish knows how to tell stories. Natty knows how to tell stories. I'm so sick of the shallow surface stuff. Let's go deep. Let's go deep into who these women are and what and their insecurities and how they overcome them and blood feuds and matches and stories that matter. If Trish can do that, which she did in her time, then please, by all means, let's do it. So Trish Stratus, hands down, is my number 2. And
That's why I didn't want Charlotte to beat her, like, most women's reigns. Like, I didn't want Charlotte to break that record. I was like, no, like, that. I think that's something Trish should have held on to, kind of like a keepsake.
Well, and I 100% agree with you. And here's the thing that kind of makes this okay for me is because it's truly not a women's champion. It's a brand champion. So Charlotte, until they ever have a WWE women's title again, I'm always going to put Trish's reigns as elevated above even what Charlotte does because, and the problem is, they're probably never going to do this because if they do it, then they've got to rebrand all the belts because then Charlotte will be a 13-time mid-card champion if they ever do that. And they're not going to do that to her. She's too valuable for the status she has. So if they ever combined them, then basically Charlotte's reigns will only matter if they have a women's champion, and then what they create after that are truly mid-card titles. Like I think y'all said, like the Evolution title or the Workhorse title or something like that. They're never going to recreate the women's title and then go, okay, here's the brand new Raw women, here's the brand new SmackDown. No, because then what happens? Charlotte's titles go down to 0 because she's never been a WWE women's champion. So they're never going to do that. So, so Savannah, I hope that puts your mind at ease. I put Trish's reigns above Charlotte's all day, all day, sure. Not even close. Absolutely. I put them all day. So, ladies, here we come. Top. What woman has captured your heart? What woman would you take a bullet for? Marie Shadows. Who's number 1?
All right, she is our Impact champ, Deonna Purrazzo. She is my number 1 because
I'm shocked you have somebody so recent as your number 1. That's amazing to me.
hold on. Like I followed her career, her early career ever since Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
So I have like this emotional attachment because even though when I was younger and I said I wanted to make it to WWE as a writer, even though I didn't do that, I made it as a WWE Network logger.
Right.
Before that, in my brain, I was like, I'm gonna be a wrestler. Well, obviously, I didn't turn out to be a wrestler. But if I did, and nobody knows this as much, but if I did, I would have loved to have Deanna as like my first ever wrestler in a match.
Awesome.
And that was like one of my inspirations when I was younger to sort of like, want to get into wrestling and wanted to be like a wrestler. But, being here in New York City, I didn't know like who to reach out to and like who to find like for school and stuff.
Right.
So I just stuck with my best skill of being a writer and like just did all that for like, my schooling and my college degree. So the wrestling thing fell to the wayside. I remember watching Deanna in her early Ring of Honor days, and I was like, this girl's gonna be something. Because I knew right there and then, even though she was green, she had the psychology. I'm more of a technical girl, as you guys know. I don't like a lot of like high flying unless it makes sense. So Deanna was very great technical wise in the ring, and I was like, yo, she's gonna be something great one day.
100%.
And here we come, fast forward to her being previous Impact champion, and then now Ring of Honor champion, which is well deserved, and then the AAA champion. So like Deanna has like a special place in my heart for why she's my number one, and she's been killing it ever since.
Yes.
So that's why I have that like emotional attachment, and maybe one day in a previous life, if I was a wrestler, like I wouldn't mind wrestling her, like
locking horns with her. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that I could do is still do a headlock, maybe go into a wrist lock. I love running the ropes, but I tell everybody my bumps still fucking suck. But at least I tried. But yeah, Deanna's my number one.
All right. Katie Bebe, huge super fan of women's wrestling. Who has earned your spot at number one?
Katie Kinsey, baby. I'm not Katie anymore.
Okay. But my bad. I apologize.
No, you're fine. I've said this so many times before. Lita is gonna be my number one any day of the week. Team Extreme, like I grew up like idolizing Lita. The way she dressed, like I'm a tomboy, clearly. Like that's like I aspired to be Lita growing up. Everything she did, like her feuds with Trish are iconic. You talk about Trish having the main event of Raw.
Yep.
You got to give to Lita too.
You do.
Like literally everything she did with Team Extreme, being like the only woman at the time doing that. Her moonsault, incredible, far superior than Charlotte's.
Amen.
Just saying.
Amen.
I agree.
I'll say until I'm blue in the face. Charlotte's moonsaults are trash.
It's not a moonsault. It's just a backflip handstand. That's all it is. It's not even a moonsault.
Well, it's because I'm not even gonna
go ahead.
Lita's incredible. Lita's incredible. I don't have time to get into it.
No, 100%.
But Lita has been quintessential in being that type of like. I have like Rhea Ripley and Victoria and AJ Lee on my list for good reasons.
Yes.
Lita's the catalyst. She started that for me, and her coming back, I cried. Her match at Elimination Chamber was incredible. I'm so happy she got to do that.
Yes.
I would love Lita to have one more run. Not even title or not, I don't care. I want her to have like a full-blown feud. I want her to have a full-blown run. I need it. I need it to happen.
I hope it does.
And I just want
give me what I want.
I just want Lita to have the shine that she rightfully deserves.
Agreed.
And Lita will always be my number one, hands freaking down.
I say, are she and Christy and what's her name? Are they still doing their show thing they were doing?
Are you talking about the Grown Ass Woman podcast?
Yeah, that.
I don't think Lita's part of that.
Yeah, I don't think Lita is. It's Victoria.
No. Oh gosh, no. It was no.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, it was Christy. It was Christy, Hemi, Lita, and there was who was the other person? But yeah, they had this. They had this thing they were doing. I don't know if
they're still doing it. I haven't heard anything about it.
Okay. But no, oh gosh, I was so thankful that she got that moment. I agree with you. If she's not going to be if she's not going to be in the spotlight like her and Trish need to get backstage. These women need them. They need them. I know they're crazy busy now, but Lita's got such a brilliant mind. And I'll put it this: probably one of the first female stories I got invested in non-title was Lita between Edge and Matt Hardy. That was It was real. It was so real, and Lita just owned it and did such a great job with that. So 100%. That's why she's in my honorable mentions. I love Lita. Savannah, who's number one?
All right. My number one, she got gas in the tank. She got money in the bank. I got news for you. You're looking at the man. It's Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is my number one. She has been for a while. Also, I'm rocking the jacket, so if that wasn't obvious then. But, and as you can tell, I've loved Becky before Becky was totally loved. You know, I know with the man character now, everyone is like absolutely is in love with what she does. But I was introduced to Becky Lynch when she was Irish jig tap dancing down that ramp in NXT. That's how I was introduced to her. And I thought she was so adorable. I was like, oh my God, I love this girl. And then she kind of turned into the last kicker, which I loved even more. Again, like that's why I got the jacket. They have other jackets of the man, but I got this one because, you know, this is also the part of the Becky Lynch I fell in love with.
Right.
So she has always been, you know, kind of like an inspiration to me because she's always been, I guess before now as the man, the underdog. You know, I always feel like people saw her as the worst of the four horsewomen or the one who was the least relevant. Even Paige, I know it was like kayfabe and she, you know, was just saying that for heel heat, but she told Becky she was the least relevant of all of their team with Charlotte and Becky, which I thought was horribly disrespectful because Becky is straight fire for a reason. She is battle last for a reason. And like how I mentioned when I was talking about Thunder Rosa, there's only one other woman to have made me cry like a baby, and that is Becky Lynch. And she has not done it once, she's done it twice. First time being Backlash 2016. She was the inaugural SmackDown Women's Champion. That was the push she finally deserved.
Right.
I've wanted her to win the NXT Women's Championship for so long before she debuted. I wanted her to win the Divas Championship at Mania. I was rooting for her.
You wanted her to win it all.
Yeah. I made a Becky Lynch sign for WrestleMania. I was like, you know, I really wanted her to win. And it was so, you know, cool to see her in WrestleMania, and I really wanted her to win. And so when she finally won at Backlash, I was a mess. When she won at Mania 35, I was crying because, you know, finally she got like her big WrestleMania moment in the main event, the first ever women's main event.
Yep.
I know there was that whole situation with Ronda's shoulder, but let me tell you, that was Ronda's fault. Learn how to put your fucking shoulders to the mat. That's not Becky's fault. So, and I know Becky wanted to make her ass tap, which I full-heartedly agree. She should have made Ronda tap. And I kind of wish we would have gone Becky versus Ronda because I think Becky's our only hope for sending Ronda back the fuck home where she belongs. So
WrestleMania 39.
I know, right? But so Becky has always been my favorite and my favorite women's wrestler. She will always stay number one because she is probably the first woman I've truly ever fell in love with because, you know, she was the first woman I ever got merch for, like for women's merch. I know that's very shameful of me, but like, she was the first one I got merch of. I got like I have like 5 wrestling jackets. She's the only woman that I have a jacket of. Like nothing against the other women, but she's just the one I felt like, you know, as a broke college student and as a broke high school student, I could scrape up the money for this one, or I could ask for Christmas for this one. So yeah, I was like, you know what? She's always been worth it to me. She's so fucking cool. I know in real life, she's like a real sweetheart. I would love to have the pleasure of meeting her one day. And, you know, I've seen her a few times WWE Live when they come to El Paso, and it was always so cool to see her. So she has always been my favorite, and no one's going to ever change that. She is the best of the four horsewomen. I will die on that hill because she fucking is. Because you know what? Take the kind of treatment that Becky was given with the other four horsemen. I don't think anyone would be able to turn it around the way Becky has. Because, you know, Charlotte has her dad's legacy. Sasha and Bayley have always had their little feud. So they've always had, you know, each other to, you know, have iron sharpen iron. Becky was always been given the shaft, and she's always given the short end of the stick. And she completely took that shit, and she made something of herself and is now the fucking man. I know she's going to lose her title at Mania. It's going to be kind of sad to see. But I know she can definitely do something without the title. She doesn't need that belt. I know John Cena says, like, it's not the title who makes the man, it's the man that makes the title. She makes the title. She doesn't need the damn belt. That damn belt needs her. So, and I will die on that hill. So that's why Becky's my top pick.
I say, wow, Savannah lit the chat up. She said Lita's last match was the best way for her to get into her career, and she killed it. I agree. They're all going nuts because of Becky. Straight fire. They all marked out when she came back. I 100% agree with that. And yes, I apologize to Katie. I'm so sorry I messed your name up. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I already. No, everybody's getting on to me for messing your name up, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Let me just say really quick. Maybe I don't know if it's because it was Charlotte Flair, but I think it could have been anybody Becky turned heel on. And everyone, like, when Becky turned heel, everyone lost their fucking mind. Like, that is one of the loudest pops I've ever seen from a heel turn. Everyone was so excited, and no one felt bad for Charlotte Flair. Not a damn person.
I think it had to be Charlotte. Otherwise, it wouldn't have worked. If she had turned heel on someone else they loved, then they would have hated her a little bit.
Maybe
everybody hated Charlotte. Everybody wanted to see that happen. Everybody wanted to see it then?
Well, first of all, everyone wanted Becky to win that match. It was for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
100%.
And I think Becky was supposed to be in the match in the first place. Like, it was just supposed to be
Charlotte got shoehorned in. It was supposed to be just Becky Carmella.
Yeah. So and then she ended up winning the title, which was bullshit. And so she turned heel, and everyone fucking loved it. So did I. And they tried getting Becky to take shots at Edge's injured neck, and that didn't fucking work.
Didn't work.
And Charlotte tried to come out and be at Edge's side, like, oh, I'm so sorry about this, and everyone fucking hated her. They're like, nope, get out of here with that. Like, again, like, everyone was just, I've never seen someone so happy with a heel turn.
All right.
Like with Becky. So
yeah,
Big Time Bex is number one.
Big Time Bex is number one, and she's my number one. So great minds think alike. I'm not going to go too long. Everybody, if you've watched the Bammer Slammer, y'all know how much I love Becky Lynch. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I agree that she is a groundbreaker. She's a history maker. First ever woman to win a main event at WrestleMania. First ever woman to be the face of the WWE. That's never happened before. First ever woman to hold the title as long as she's held it. Everything against all the other four horsewomen. Yeah, you've all had your highlights, but guess who's held gold longer on the main roster, and that's Becky Lynch. She's been a champion on the main roster over 750 days. No other four horsewomen even comes close to that. It is incredible that she has held that title with so much dignity and respect. Every match she's in, she makes it matter. Everything she does, she lays it in. Every move she does means something. She's a storyteller. She's said that open again. She's like, I could do everything athletically most of these girls can do or most of these guys can do. I'm a storyteller. I want to make you mad at me, or I want to make you love me. And I want you to care about the story that I'm in. That's what I respect about her. When she came back at SummerSlam, I'm a grown man. I don't care. I cried because I missed her. There was such a powerful moment. When she came down that ramp, you could just see all over her face, I've missed this. I'm so glad I'm back. I'm so glad I get to do what I love. And everybody can say, well, this whole thing with Bianca, 26 seconds, whatever. I hope and pray Becky is smart enough and secure enough in herself to let Bianca beat her in 26 seconds at WrestleMania. That's storytelling. And I have no doubt in my mind if Becky wants to do it, then she could do it, and she's Teflon now. That would not hurt her. If anything, it would just elevate Bianca even more. So 100% agree with everything Savannah said. Could not say anything more about her. Love Big Time Bex. She'll always be the man to me. I don't like Big Time Bex. She'll always be the man to me. So,
or the Irish glass kicker again. Yep. I even have like a little drawstring bag that has like the glass kicker logo. Again, the last kicker is like really the one I truly fell in love with, and I've always loved Becky. And I think out of the four horsewomen, she has the least amount of title reigns.
But she's held them longer. And that's what matters to me.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. Anyone can hold a title, and it's about the title reign, okay? Because if we're really counting, like, how many titles, a lot of Charlotte's titles, when Charlotte and Sasha were playing hot potato with the belt, like, that, I think that completely devalued it, because you're just switching, on Raw and then on a pay-per-view, and, they have pay-per-views monthly. That was ridiculous. I was like, I get you want to, like, raise the accolades, like, oh, I'm a 5-time women's champion. I'm like, yes, but, like, how often are you, like, how long does that last? And that actually reminds me, I know WWE wrestlers have done like this reaction channel thing on YouTube because the algorithm like recommends it for me. And I will never forget this line Becky said. They had Becky Lynch react to like a bunch of different stuff. and she was talking about Charlotte Flair, and she at the time she was like an 8-time women's champion. I don't know, but she said this line, and I will never forget it. Like I would hang this quote over my freaking wall, and she said, "It's less impressive to hit the bullseye 8 times when you're given unlimited arrows."
Wow.
Because that's exactly what Charlotte is. So many title reigns, so when you get so many title shots that your reigns really become meaningless.
Yep.
So that's the difference between Becky and Charlotte.
I agree. And I'm fixing to make Savannah smile more. Charlotte's in title history as a champion, all of her days combined are still less than Becky's first reign.
Good.
Damn, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Becky's first reign was nearly 400 days. Charlotte's entire history has been less than
her Raw Women's
her first
Championship
Raw
reign.
Women's Championship reign.
I was gonna say because
Yes.
the SmackDown one didn't last that long, unfortunately.
No,
She lost to Bliss that December.
No, but yeah, total combined days, all of her 5 championship title reigns are still incredible. They've outranked everybody. So, no, 100%. Maria, I'm going to come back up to you. Honorable mentions. Who almost made your 10, but you still want to talk about them?
So basically, can I just name all 5?
Just name them. We're not going to go into detail. Just name them.
All right, cool. So in no particular order, I have China, Maria Kanellis, Stephanie McMahon, Awesome Kong, and then Thunder Rosa made the honorable mentions.
All right. Katie, who you got?
Bailey, Becky, Britt, Xia Li, and I didn't think of a 5th.
I've got Lita, Thunder Rosa, Rhea Ripley, Beth Phoenix, Victoria, Deonna Purrazzo. So a lot of y'all's top 10s were in my honorable mentions. Savannah?
I have a lot because again, it was hard.
Okay.
It was really hard for me. I have Deonna Purrazzo, Natalia, Dakota Kai, Riho, Carmella, Kelly, Trish Stratus, Bailey. I decided to throw in Hannah Kimura because God rest her soul. I did go back and watch some of her matches.
Yep.
She was phenomenal. Rest in peace, Hannah. Love you so much. I'm doing Starlight Kid from Stardom, Asuka, Anna Jay, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and Ty Conti.
Wow, that's a man. Savannah's got a whole freaking roster. I love it.
I'm telling you,
That's
it was hard
awesome.
to narrow it down to
That's
like
awesome.
10.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. This has been an awesome show. And again, all of you that are watching, thank you for joining us in the Twitch channel and watching the replay on our YouTube channel. I'm going to let these ladies put themselves over. Katie, Savannah, put over the SheLite Showcase. When can we see you guys? Where can we find you on social media? What do you have coming up?
Katie, take it away. You do this better than I ever will.
Okay, so obviously you can follow me on Twitter at KatieWrestling13. The link tree in my bio to take you all things SheLite Showcase. Twitch.tv/SheLite Showcase. Typically Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our YouTube, please subscribe. Audio, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We do a SheLite every week. I have Inside the Mind of, where I interview other people in the podcasting world. I'm trying to get other people right now. In the crowd, I do a collab show with other podcasters. I just had Young Kings Wrestling on, Chad, CC, and Reek.
Absolutely.
For like a Know Your Co-host thing, so I made it into a game.
That's awesome.
Savannah has the New Japan Takeover, where she just had recently a Q&A with her friend Daniel. We love Daniel. So everything she's done with that. Yeah, we're just grinding out content as best we can right now.
Y'all do amazing. I'm so proud of you girls. Keep up the great work. Marie, where can we find you on social media? What do you have coming up?
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at Marie_Shadows. And then you could also follow my own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Marie_Shadows, where I talk about wrestling, get you guys up to date with New Japan Pro Wrestling, especially the New Japan Cup, and then probably Best of the Super Juniors because they just released a date for that. And then also you can help out the channel over at my coffee page, www.ko-fi.com/Marie_Shadows, to just, give a tip. It's sort of like Patreon in a way, but it helps the brand and everything. I have a goal on that page to go check it out. But yeah, that's basically where you guys can find me and hang out with me.
Absolutely. And you can follow me at Bammer Slammer. You can follow the podcast at SmackDrawPod. Again, like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, everything we said earlier. I appreciate all 3 of you ladies, Marie, Katie, Savannah. Thank you for giving up your afternoon and doing this. This has been our top 10 favorite women's wrestlers of all time.